The novel coronavirus is still ravaging many nations, and Nigeria is not an exception. The reports coming out from the NCDC states that the number of persons that are dying now is very alarming, and that is why we must all ensure that we protect ourselves and our loved ones. Welcome to your program today. My name still remains Patrick Abambo. This is your program where we tell you all you need to know about security and safety. And it's a forum, a program where you can ask questions, whatever you need to know concerning how to protect yourself or live safe. You are free to send us your questions through our social media platforms that will be displayed on the screen. Welcome to Security Watch Africa, and only on this channel, the Africa Independent Television. Welcome. Like I said, remember to always put on your face mask when you are in public or interacting with somebody. Yes, because of the dangers so far we are noticing concerning the number of persons that are reportedly dying as a result of coronavirus, Security Watch Africa, Elizabeth Tanko put together a brief awareness for us to know that coronavirus is still with us. Sit back as we bring you this.
People around the world are concerned about the highly contagious Delta variant of COVID-19. The Nigerian government said the country is already seeing the third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, as cases and death toll are increasing across the country. Nigeria is recording about 500 cases daily, particularly in Lagos, Akwa Ibom, Oyo, Rivers, Kano, Plateau, and the FCT, as the Delta variant has made ways into the state. Lagos alone accounts for over 50% of the number of cases. The Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has raised an alarm that the state is witnessing increase in the use of oxygen, as utilization has jumped from 75 cylinders per day to over 400 cylinders per day since the third wave began. The situation in the country calls for more responsibility, and citizens are urged to adhere to the preventive protocols put in place by the health authorities. Elizabeth Tanko, Security Watch Africa, Abuja.
Welcome back. Yes, we must all be responsible and ensure that we protect ourselves and our loved ones. Yes, quickly, during the week and the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, there have been questions about the Boko Haram and ISWAP, that's the Islamic State in West Africa province members that are surrendering to the Nigerian troop. People are asking, should they be allowed to just integrate into the society? Some had even said that alleged that the Nigerian army or the Nigerian military is recruiting these people into their fold. But we have a report on this put together by Shuli Daniels of Security Watch Africa.
In the recent week, there has been a wave of surrendering by Boko Haram and Islamic State in West African province ISWAP members. This, many hope, will continue and ease Nigeria of 12 years of pressure fighting terrorism and insurgents. As much as so many Nigerians see this surrendering as a welcoming development, some are confused as to whether if these suspected Boko Haram members surrendering to the Nigerian troops should be accepted into the society and the reasons behind them giving up their arms. Security Watch Africa spoke with Brigadier General Sani Usman retired, Professor Afis Oladosun, and Professor Christopher Ugbugbo to find out what they think about this development.
I think it's a welcome development. However, we have to critically examine it and make sure that due process is followed, not just issue of demobilizing them and disarming them, but we should also emphasize on the radicalization and ensure that we make the society, receptive to some of this repentant Boko Haram.
The convention that I'm aware of, probably including that of the United Nations, is that combatants in war, if you have a situation where perpetrators willfully surrender, having discovered that the game is up for them, there's that allowance for them to enjoy that privilege, and they will now then be subjected to other protocols that would conform with international law and regulation.
It's a very welcome development that members of Boko Haram are surrendering. They are not just surrendering because they want to surrender, they are surrendering because there's considerable heat on them. And so we should commend the Nigerian military for creating a situation that will cause them to surrender.
On the issue of meting out justice to these perpetrators on the crimes they have committed, they have this to say.
There's a need for the state, our country, we need to have that judicial process followed into two, so that we do not begin to condone such infractions in the future. Before Boko Haram, we had Maitasini. Before Maitasini, there were other ones. So if we do not deal with this the way they should be dealt with, we'll be sending the wrong signals that, okay, some other group could also come up tomorrow. And that was what I was talking about, deodorizing the situation. The government needs to be firm. The president needs to be firm. Those in the various states where these atrocities have happened, they also need to be firm, so that those who have been affected could sit and be happy that, okay, government actually stood up for them.
Government, not now the military, should come out with a policy of how to properly track all those who have surrendered, know their level of culpability with regards to crimes committed by Boko Haram, and try them appropriately. There cannot be a blanket amnesty, you are forgiving them. And no. Don't forget that those they violated, a good number of them are still around. You don't also want to encourage criminality in the country. So the proper thing is the government should, using its justice mechanisms, kick it in place, track those who have committed crimes and try them accordingly.
Lately, there are allegations that some Boko Haram and ISWAP members who surrendered are being enlisted into the Nigerian army. We sought to find out if this is true and how possible it is.
People don't just spread rumors. They have to be evidentially based. There's no evidence as we speak that the army is recruiting members of Boko Haram into its fold. There's a process through which members of the armed forces are recruited. To the best of my knowledge, that is not happening. So, we cannot give that rumor credence. It has no place so far, unless those who should do, those who make policies in the army, make such pronouncements. And to the best of my knowledge, none has made such a pronouncement about recruiting members of Boko Haram into its fold.
We have seen that the military has issued a statement, and of course it is not true. No Boko Haram member has been recruited into the army. And I don't think he or she will be recruited into the army. I think what is most important here is for the government to really sensitize members of the public on, yes, I agree that some of this negotiation and all the rest of it has to be, kind of be kept in the wrap for the time being. But I think the public needs to know some of these processes so that their fears will be allayed. Their apprehension will also be allayed, because lack of information breeds all these kind of speculations. And what I would like people to understand is that no reasonable people will just overnight suddenly will just be insensitive to the plight of the victims of the atrocities of the Boko Haram terrorists. Barely 6 years ago, you all know what we went through in this country. You can hardly even go to the market. You cannot go to places of worship. You cannot go to any social event. Almost life was almost at a standstill. And thankfully, the security forces have done a marvelous job, particularly our military. Now we have semblance of peace and security as compared to in those days when the Boko Haram terrorists had the effrontery to even declare a caliphate calling it their own, carving out a territory out of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
From the views of some persons who are knowledgeable with the activities in the Nigerian Army and other arms of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, it is obvious that no present or former Boko Haram or ISWAP member have been recruited into the armed forces. Shirley Daniels, Security Watch Africa, Abuja.
Yeah, welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is your program, Security Watch Africa, only on this channel, the Africa Independent Television, the window to Africa. We go every length to bring you information concerning security. That report should put an end to this speculation or this rumor or the news about the Nigerian army recruiting Boko Haram members into their fold. Is not true. I can tell you for this that is not true, and it's not even been thought about. So we should all discountenance that news, whoever is circulating it. But quickly, let's go to another issue that is a big trouble to everyone. Bank fraud. Frauds are happening every day in the banks. People are losing their money put in the bank, which was supposed to be protected and safe, but today they are being taken away. And so Security Watch Africa, Peg Yagbe, did a report on this. Sit back as we bring this report.
Fraud refers to any deceptive activity engaged in by an individual with the aim of gaining something through means that violates the law. Perpetrators lead their victims to believe a deception in order to obtain a benefit or value. While a bank is a financial institution licensed to receive deposits and make loans, banks may also provide financial services such as wealth management, currency exchange, and safe deposit boxes. The basic responsibility of banks or financial institutions is to protect the depositor's money and financial assets. But in recent times, the reverse is the case, as some bank staff now initiate or collaborate with criminals to defraud and steal from customers, and these cause for worry. Recent statistics of depositors' money lost in bank frauds in 2020 is staggering, as the figure is placed at 1.9 billion naira. Though some financial institutions and security experts are of the opinion that the amount could be higher. Worried with this trend, Security Watch Africa sought to find out why the rise in bank fraud. Who are the perpetrators? What role enforcement agencies play to checkmate these issues? To find answers to these, 3 professionals spoke with us. A retired commissioner of police who handled many of such cases while in service, CP Lawrence Alubi gave insights to why there seemed to be increase in bank fraud.
There are so many factors that one could attribute to this increasing rate of bank fraud in the country. It's not just Nigeria, it's globally. So technology, as technology comes, it's been invented. Technology has both negative and positive aspect. Now the criminals themselves want to say, can use technology to their own advantage. As technology is meant to protect people, it cannot be used against the people. So criminals, they are very intelligent and smart, so they want to see how they can circumvent and use technology to achieve whatever they want to achieve in terms of from criminal activities. And the other factors are to see most young men are involved in this bank fraud, call it Yahoo boys and so forth, because most of them are unemployed. You see, sometimes the system itself produces those factors that instigate or promote crime. There's unemployment, there's poverty, there are problems everywhere. There's urban migration, overall urban migration, all these infrastructures are not there, so there's a lot of problems. So I think again, institutions too sometimes are not even who are supposed to enforce the law, not even as well equipped and well empowered to enforce the law or be able to prevent this crime. So there are so many factors.
On whether bank staff initiate or participate in these frauds, retired Deputy Inspector General of Police Habila Joshak, CP Alubi, and Head of Interpol National Central Bureau Abuja, AIG Garba Baba Umar, bear their minds.
Sometimes most banks too, they have fraudulent staff, go now with criminals, criminals to commit crime?
There has been some compromise from within the banking industry that tend to give up intelligence or information that is converted to intelligence to criminals to be able to strike.
They are a party to the offense. And that is why if we are going to charge a banker, we don't only charge the banker, we charge also the bank. Because whatever action he has taken, it is deemed or presumed that he did it on behalf of the bank.
According to AIG Umar, Interpol is concerned with the trend and frowns on reluctancy of banks to do proper background checks of their staff.
I can tell you, no bank request or check the data of their staff in respect of criminal record. They wanted cheap labor. They wanted to push them to the street with the concept of marketing. The bank is not interested in, some of the banks are not interested in the security of the funds of their customers. What they are interested is how the bank will grow by all means necessary, without the recourse or without at the detriment of the customers.
AIG Umar further advised citizens on ways to ensuring that they do not fall victims of these fraudsters.
My advice to members of the public also, that you should know the kind of bank that you can trust, that you can have confidence. There are many of them in Nigeria that are good, but many also are bad.
The head of Interpol, NCB Abuja, urged those who may have experienced any breach with their money in banks to quickly report and take action for remedy, and also provided portal to send their complaints.
When you are opening an account, know your what do we call your account officer, know your right, spells out the condition and bank, comprehend it. You should not get the fear that if something happens to your account, you just let it go. This is our problem.
At a meeting with the Association of Chief Audit Executives of Banks in Nigeria, the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdullahi Bawa, disclosed that banks will be held liable for fraud committed by their staff. The EFCC chief announced that from September 1st, 2021, it will no longer be business as usual. The commission will hold banks liable where there are established cases of institutional complicity in bank sector. Bank fraud is a serious crime. Be careful who you disclose your bank codes to. Do not log into public Wi-Fi's, as that could pose serious threat to details on your mobile phones. Avoid greedy kinds of gambling like money doubling online. Report any form of injustices to appropriate authorities. Bank staff should preserve confidentiality of customers and protect the financial institution with integrity. Peggy Agbe, Security Watch Africa, Abuja.
Come back. Yes, quickly, because time is not on our side when we're on television, because other programs must follow suit. The last 2 weeks has been a lot of sorrow, blood, and terror in the Plateau, talking about Plateau State. And it's been a troubling situation, attacks and counterattacks and all. It's been a problem. Really, a lot of things have been said and done. Security Watch Africa decided to sought the view of somebody who not only that he's from that state, he worked to ensure that there is peace across the country, across the federation. He provides some solutions on what should be done in Plateau and other parts of the country, even to the extent of issue of bandits. Sit back as we bring you this comment by the retired Deputy Inspector General of Police, Joshua Kabila.
Well, Plateau, like any other state that has had its chair, like Kaduna, like Zamfara, even Katsina, Benue. You know, I've had an opportunity to remain there for months in each of these states to try to see what we can do. For Plateau, it has been a little bit rousy at a point. The whole thing almost fizzled out. But like I told you, everybody has been radicalized. In Plateau, I think the youth also have been radicalized. They've been able to fill in the gap where there are no securities. But like I told you, this thing happened, like I said, it started with the Miango. Miango have been pounded. They've complained that they've not seen about 68 youth all killed. They've complained that there are about 100 and more houses that have been broken down, burnt. There are deaths. 55 youth or more have been killed. And this also said they have 3,000 displaced persons. This is true. And in their words, they've said they are not very, very appreciative of the response of the security agencies when these things happen. They come in when it's all over. It could be communication gap. It could be that they were not told on time. It could also be that the logistics was not sufficient, and that gap is unfortunate. You also remember that some other persons that were passing. Of course, you know, the youth have been radicalized. The youth also have done what we call some self-help. And so the youth also have got into a situation where they will be able to decipher from what is likely to be a threat to their lives and what is not. And I think that was what played out last time when some other citizen of Ondo and even Ekiti coming in from Bauchi for an Islamic program. And of course I said they missed their way. Because if you want to get through Abuja to go to any of these states in the southwest, you can just take through the Mararaban Jamaa. But if you enter into the city, you are not likely to find your way, because the only way that you can go through Garabu to be able to find your way again, to get to Staff College, to be able to take to Abuja Road, will be through the locals. Maybe if you'll be able to get to the locals, you've just gone down. And so it was unfortunate that on that day, that was when these youth were also going for burial. And they've also said that each time there's burial of such people, they are attacked. So I'm sure it was not an organized, I wouldn't know actually, but in my opinion, I think there were people who mill around when someone must have stopped to find out who they were. And there were other people also who want to vent the already boxed anger. And so I think the police and other security agencies, the military, must have tried. I think they should be able to fish out those, and they'll be surprised to also see that most of them might not be the Irigwe youth. And so that was why we said that case should be treated in isolation. It's criminal, and it will be treated in isolation. And you saw the fear of the youth again. Some other people came again and did that havoc in Yelwa. Yelwa is just at the back of the Naraguta, because I also went to University of Justice Naraguta campus there, not too far there, and then burnt people. In my local government, you also know too that they killed the policeman and his son and his brother, and then arms were recovered. And this scenario shows that the youth and the community must be mobilized to be able to also serve as a buffer zone, ensuring that anybody that is coming in that cannot explain himself very well, they should be able to put question through. But the area of stopping anybody and then maybe slaughtering is unfortunate. And like I would say, there's a lot of things we can do. But the truth is, the youth are so radicalized. The recurring decimal of killings in the community, particularly in Bassa, is getting bad. And the youth can wait no longer, but we urge them that they should be able to work with the security. I think the governor bought some vehicles. We need a lot of vehicles like the one you saw we had in Port Harcourt. And we need to net the road, the streets and the roads. We need to look at the entrance and the exit and then pump them, and then block them. We also need the helicopter that will hover around. We must be able to go and redesign. There are a lot of retired military officers and police officers that do not need anything to go to help. We should be able to plan something. If given the opportunity, we should be able to plan something in Plateau State and ensure that if you attempt, you will be gotten. Well, you know, it will surprise you. We've been with you. You supported me in Port Harcourt, and we went all to creeks looking for oil theft, individuals and also kidnappers, truncating from rivers to Bayelsa, together with you in the creek and on the land. When we had the...
Oh, sadly, we will not be able to conclude this this comment, this episode on the program, but we'll surely continue with it next episode so that you hear what he said, this way out of this issue of banditry and how it can be resolved. It's really been my pleasure presenting this program, and we're happy that the crew of Security Watch Africa are able to put this together for you, and also the station transmitting it to you. Thanks for staying tuned. We'll urge that you join us again next week. Or go visit our YouTube link, our YouTube channel, so you can watch the previous edition. Until next week, I say bye for now and remain blessed.